Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, call Allah, Yahweh Bashimi Shai. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Just, coming back at you with just another quick, Lord's willing, edifying lesson, just pertaining to delusions, delusions, and it's a fearful thing, at the end of the day, to be under a delusion. And I just want to grab a precept, and like I said, like what in my previous videos, I'm inspired to do these videos by certain conversations that I have with whether it be people in the world, whether it be my brothers, my fellow Akim. It inspires me to to speak on certain matters, whether I'm watching a video, I may see something and I'm inspired to do it. Now, today's inspiration was I got a phone call, and it was just pertaining into this flat Earth shit, and I will say, well, you want to know what? I'll just read the scripture, because this really explains pretty much everything, man. This is Isaiah 66:4. It says, "I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not." Okay, so let's look up delusions, because what you have today within Israel is a lack of well, I know I will say a self-willed spirit, a rebellious spirit, a stiff neck spirit, and which has been upon Israel for a long time, man. From our very conception, the Lord, it's just that's how things were designed, from the beginning. That's how things were written. You were going to have a sect of Israelites that were just going to be completely rebellious, man. Okay, completely. And the majority of Israel, 2/3, okay, versus a 1/3 that that the Lord is, of course, is going to have mercy upon, and they just have a different type of spirit on them, but nonetheless they're still Israelites. All Israel, okay. But well, actually, let's get this word. Let's get delusion. Let's go into the root. What is that? Allow, right? It says to act severely, deal with severely, make a fool of someone. It says to act severely, to be severely dealt with. What is that? To busy oneself, divert oneself, deal wantonly, deal ruthlessly, abuse, to glean, to act or play the child, to insert, thrust in, or thrust upon. Let's look up just glean, because essentially what this is, to thrust, and this is what the Lord inserted within within certain men's minds. Okay, install certain information into certain men's minds. Now, when we're dealing with information is essentially that. It's information, and the information that the Lord is inserting to certain men's minds is incorrect. Okay, and then that's the thing, like, man, and that's another level, or another a view to look at the power, and the overall character of the Lord, and he chooses people to to receive life at the end of the day, and then he chooses people to receive death. Okay, and this is just simply his movie, man, and he does what he want to do. He's the Lord. There's no, as the scripture says, there's none beside him. His thoughts are not our thoughts. Okay, he can do whatever he want to do, and if he choose to give your ass a lie, if he choose to to choose your delusion, he will do so. Okay, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Okay, it says the glean. It says information is gleaned from press cuttings. It says obtain, get, take, draw, derive, extract, call. Right, to reap, select, choose, pick, And that's essentially what it is. The Lord has gleaned, as a verb. What is this? What objective? Says collect gradually, bit by bit, objects glean. Yeah, right. So that information that, to glean, to insert, okay, to put in individuals' minds, certain information that, like I said, they can be incorrect. Now there are accounts of that takes place within the scriptures. Okay. So these are the things that you have to consider. And that's another thing, man. That's why you got to be humble. That's why you got to be meek. And that's why you got to lean upon the Lord. Okay? What is that? Proverbs 3 and 5. And like I said, the conversation that I was having, it just, is one thing, you can't be proud in this thing, man. You can't. Listen, the Lord resisteth the proud, man. He dealing with the meek and the lowly. Proverbs 3 and 5 says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not into thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him and he shall direct thy paths. Like that's the thing, man. The power of prayer, make a supplication unto the Lord and begging him, to answer certain questions, to give you certain, answers, in due time. The Lord is long suffering. He's not going to reveal certain things into you right away. You got to have patience, man. Patience. Okay. But at the same time, there's a flip side to that, man. There's a flip side. And that's why important. Hey, listen, the things that are written aforetime were written for our learning. Okay. So you gotta go back into these things. Go back into these scriptures. I'm gonna hop straight to the point. Actually, this first Kings. I'm gonna hop straight to the point, straight to the point on this. I mean, you can go back and read this. Of course, this was one of the kings was seeking counsel. Of course, they go to the prophets. They want answers, but this particular king, he wanted to hear what he wanted to hear, and you had a prophet there, like, listen, I'm gonna tell you what the Lord told me to tell you, and that's just what it's straight gonna be. But at the same time, all right, so let me get to the point. At the same time, you have, hey, listen, man, the Lord, those delusions and him choosing them. Okay. All right, let's just straight to the point. This is 1 Kings 22 and 21. It says, and there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. Listen, that delusion, to persuade, delusions, they're synonymous, man. Okay. It says, and the Lord said unto him, wherewith, and he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all of his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also, go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord, Yahweh, I put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these prophets, and the Lord have spoken evil concerning thee. But Zedekiah, the son of Kenanah, went near and smote Micaiah on the cheek and said, which way went the spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? And Micaiah said, behold, thou shalt see in the day when thou shalt go into the inner chamber to hide thyself. Right? It says, and then the king of Israel said, take Micaiah and carry him back unto Ammon, the governor of the city, and Joash, the king's son, and say that thus saith the king, put this fellow in prison and feed him with bread of affliction and with water of affliction until I come in peace. And Micah said, if thou return at all in peace, the Lord have not spoken by me. And he said, hearken, O people, every one of you. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle, but put on thy robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into battle. But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that had ruled over his chariots, saying, fight neither with small or great, save only with the king of Israel. And it came to pass when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass when the captains and chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. Then a certain man drew a bow at the venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, turn thy hand and carry me out of the host for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Syrians, and died at even, and the blood ran out of his wound into the midst of the chariot, and went and there went out a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, every man to his city, and every man to his own country. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. So listen, look, man, the point is the Lord will choose your delusion, okay? There are lying spirits, okay? And what it is now you have certain individuals that have a lot of different questions, that think they have the answer, that are proud, that are boastful, okay? That will just are completely leaning upon their own understanding, but don't understand that it is a lying spirit on you. The Lord has chosen those delusions for you, okay? And as I just read in this account, man, this is not a game. This is for real, okay? And these are the things that you have to consider. That's why you have to constantly be self-reflecting. You have to constantly be looking at yourself, okay? You need to constantly be making supplication unto the Lord. Paul stated that you need to be praying without ceasing, man, okay? And constantly doing the work of the Lord, man. Constantly trying to please him, having faith in him and believing in him, okay? Because those are the things that's going to keep, man, listen, and look, and humbling yourself and hoping, okay? You go to Romans, the 5th chapter, it speaks about that hope, okay? Because all in all, man, we know, and any last one of them could be could succumb to those spirits. The Lord can put those spirits on whoever He wants to, okay? But we know through the scriptures, okay? What is that? I think it's Romans, the 11th chapter. Paul reiterated that the Lord has reserved 7,000 men. It's not going to bow the knee to Baal, in representation to that 144,000 and the 1/3, that's going to be delivered, okay, that the Lord shed his blood for. Okay, so we know that there is a portion of men that have been set aside, okay, that had to have their sins washed and cleansed, okay, from the sins, from the past sins. So the point is man, lying spirits are for real. Okay, these delusions are for real, and the Lord puts them on whomever He wants. Okay, so stay prayed up, man, and constantly reflect, man. Do the work. You know what I'm saying, and stay in the spirit, man, and keep pushing. Because this place is about to fall, and you want to know what 2/3 is gonna get it. Okay, and the 1/3 is gonna be delivered, because that's just how it's written, and that's just how it's gonna go. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Ruach double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.